Hi everyone, it's Heidi again. Today we are reacting to Geography Now, Finland. I know a little bit about Finland, getting to know it, especially about the saunas. That's like one of my favorite things that I've learned about on this channel. Also, Geography Now put out a video a couple of days ago. Go check it out. It's about the Ukrainian and Russian conflict and kind of breaking that down a little bit in a kind of an interesting way. I'm not reacting to it, but it was just something that I thought that a lot of people should know, being that that's kind of what's going on in the world right now. But for the sake of this channel, we will continue with this kind of stuff, and I freaking love it. So a little more of a positive subject. But if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Come see me on Twitch. I love talking about this kind of stuff with you guys live. That's been huge for me. I've been enjoying it a lot. But otherwise, let's do this.
Ah, Finland.
Oh. Also, he visited. Yes.
Let's talk about this place that I totally have no preconceived biases towards.
It's time to learn geography
now! I feel like all of the Finnish people in the chat are gonna be like, yes! He loves Finland! That's the best. Finnish people really are so nice.
Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbie. Welcome to the dark sheep of Northern Europe. All the other Nordic countries are like, la 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 la, while Finland is like, we'll get into that.
I mean, the other Nordic countries have their own little fun stuff about them too. I think they're all really cool.
Heavy metal thing in a bit, but first. Now just remember, Finland is Nordic, but don't call it Scandinavian. There's a huge difference. That title only belongs to Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. First of all, Finland is located in Northern Europe, lying on the Gulf of Finland and the Gulf of Bothnia, east of all that Scandinavian stuff. To the west, they border Sweden on the Torne River, or the Tornionjoki, until it reaches the tri-point border with Norway at the three-country Cairnstone. And to the east, they border big ol' Russia with another tri-point border with Norway that looks like this. The country is divided into 19 regions, or maakunta, with the autonomous region that we'll talk about a little bit later, and the capital of Helsinki, located in the south on the Gulf of Finland, which is also the second most northern capital in the world after Reykjavik, Iceland. The country also owns about 180,000 islands, the highest concentration of which found in the Baltic off the coast in the Åland archipelago. Keep in mind, parts of Finland also lie within the Arctic Circle. That's how far up north they are. And the three busiest airports are Helsinki, Oulu, and Rovaniemi. Now, my favorite part, territorial anomalies! First of all, with Russia, there are too many split islands and penne enclaves. The islands of Aikaniemi and Sursari, Tarasin-Sari Islands and lakes, the island in the Koitajoki River. Seriously, just play around with Google Earth and see how many you can find.
Split islands. I feel like that is just so confusing. I wonder who decided that. Very interesting.
Finally, we get to Sweden and things get interesting. Most of the borders with Sweden run along rivers that eventually flow into the Torne River, and then we get a strange golf course that is split between the two countries in the town of Tornio and Sweden. Not only that, but then you have the strange Market Island right next to Åland in the Gulf of Bothnia, which has an inverted S-shaped border. It had to do with the
Why?
lighthouse that was built belonging to Finland, but then Sweden was like, hey, it's too close to our side of the island. So they drew a border that was like this to give each side equal shares of the land.
Can you see that when you're there? Do they have like the lines? I feel like, how is anyone supposed to remember that?
So they drew a border that was like this to give each side equal shares of the land.
Wow.
See this archipelago cluster of islands right here? Yeah, it belongs to Finland, even though most of the people here speak Swedish. Åland is Finland's strange little administrative anomaly. Long story short, it used to belong to Sweden, but then the Russians took over it in addition to Finland. But then after the Russian Revolution, Finland became free, and then the UN decided Åland should belong to Finland with autonomy. But then the Soviets started attacking again, and then Finland was like, nope, and then fought back relentlessly, defending themselves and Åland, and Sweden just kind of sat there and didn't really do much for Åland as they decided to stay neutral. Finland defending Åland was kind of like the turning point. Now it's kind of like, Åland, come back to me! Look, Sweden, we had some great times, but you kind of really didn't do much for me when things got crazy. I mean, Finland defended me, okay? And he treats me well, okay? His tax incentives are great. It's time to move on.
Healthy relationships. Let's go.
It's not me. It's you.
It's you.
Åland. Also, Finland kind of threatened that if Åland was ceded back to Sweden, they would demand the Tornio Valley. Now, before the whole Soviet thing, Finland operated the regions of Karelia, Sala, Kusamo, Petsamo, and some extra islands in the Gulf. After the wars with the Soviets, these regions were all ceded back to Russia, effectively cutting off their access to the Arctic Ocean. Very quickly, some notable sites and landmarks would have to be the old castles like Savonlinna, Hämeenlinna, Olavinlinna, and the most renowned Suomenlinna.
All the
You probably
Linnas.
guess what Lina means by now. Rovaniemi is otherwise known as the home of Santa Claus, where you can go reindeer sledding. Inari and Ivalo is where you can get a real Sami traditional cultural experience. Of course, Helsinki is the epicenter of Finnish architecture and culture, with landmarks such as the Tempeli Aukia Church excavated.
I feel like this looks almost just like one of the buildings from the This Is Germany video. Is it the same one? The big yellow one? Or is it different? Why does it look so similar to me? I mean, I'm sure that, a lot of buildings look similar, but I remember the big, long yellow building. Anyway.
Architecture and culture, with landmarks such as the Tempeli Aukia Church excavated into a rock, Mannerheim Street, the busiest road with all the shops and austere post-Soviet influenced blocky colonnaded buildings, or the iconic Helsinki Cathedral. Now those are all great, but Finland isn't really much of a tight metropolitan type of country. They love their space and have quite a bunch of it. Let's see what lies outside these cities, shall we?
Yes!
Now, if you want me to make this simple, some would argue that Finland is the best winter wonderland in the world. I mean, Canada's cool, but they have too many bears, and Iceland is too...
That was quite an image. Okay.
explodey, and Russia is too... cold. Seriously though, the land is generally flat except in the north by the border with Norway, in which the highest mountain can be found, Mount Halti, although the peak is in Norway. However, in 2017, Norway plans to give Finland the peak for their 100th anniversary of independence from the Soviets. Finland is just wonderfully crisp and refreshing, usually ranking in the top 3 countries in the world with the cleanest air quality. This is partially because Finland is almost 80% covered in forest, one of the highest concentrations per square kilometer in the world, only behind countries like Gabon and Suriname. This makes Finland the largest producer of wood in the EU and one of the top in the world. Not only that, but Finland has about 188,000 lakes, most heavily concentrated in lakeland, and in addition to lakes, about 10% of the country is comprised of all water bodies like rivers, ponds, and streams. When mixed with the land, this makes about 1/3 of the country home to swamps and bogs, making it the highest wetland proportion country in Europe and disputably the world. Maybe, but our floods are crazier. Fittingly, the name for swamp in Finnish is suo, and the word for Finland is suomi. I mean, technically they also have like 9 other words for swamp, like rame, neva, leto, luhta, laiteko, apa, paisa, yanka, and korpi. And they...
Do they all mean slightly different types or something like that? That's very interesting. I love that.
I love these swamps. One Finnish pastime is jumping in the mud, sometimes naked, and either playing soccer or wrestling. The landscape of Finland is shaped that way because imagine what happens when you crush something under a heavy glacier for a really long time, and then after the glacier melts, you're left with pockety erosion and mineral residue all over. Not only that, but Finland is experiencing a post-glacial rebound in which the land is steadily rising along the coast of the Gulf of Bothnia. Every year, Finland gains about 7 square kilometers and is technically rising out of the sea. The longest river is the Kemijoki that passes through Lapland and reaches the Gulf of Bothnia. And the largest lake, as well as the 4th largest in Europe, Lake Saima, is located in the southeast. Because Finland is so far north, they are known for being the land of the midnight sun, as during summer you can literally see the sun for 24 hours a day in the northern parts by the Arctic Circle. And of course, in the winter times, there's hardly any sunlight at all, but if you're lucky, you can witness an aurora borealis, especially in the northern parts. Oh, and by the way, the national animals are the whooper swan and the brown bear.
Not reindeer? Dude, that's so funny.
Finnish agriculture is, of course, very standard for northern European countries. Lots of rye wheat, turnips, potatoes, and of course, fishing is huge out here. However, due to the abundance of lakes and rivers, Finns prefer their own domestic freshwater fish like perch, zander, and miuku as opposed to the sea fish. Speaking of which, coming to Finland, chances are you will eventually try reindeer meat in some shape or form, whether in stew or grilled. In Lapland, you might even find bear on the menu.
You can eat bear? Now that one I have not heard of. Oh, ew. Has anyone tried it? Is it good? I feel bad. I don't know.
Try mami, a pudding made of rye, and of course, every Finn will make every visitor try this strong, salty salmiakki.
You guys have told me about it. We actually looked at some of the, black licorice or the licorice, and some of them are just coated in salt. You guys say it's really good. I don't know. I'll have to try it.
I love salmiakki so much that they made it into an ice cream, and it's so good, and I'm so mad they don't sell it in my hometown. All right, in the wintertime, they build ice hotels, and there's like this cool waterfall in the Paratisi Kuru area in the Uru Kekkonen National Park. Okay, let's talk about Finnish people. Okay, if you go to Finland, you will most likely experience a rather intense yet intriguing social construct. First of all, the country has about 5.5 million people and is the most sparsely populated country in the EU. The country is about 90% ethnically Finnish, about 6% are Swedish, and the rest is made up of everything else under the sun, like Russians, Estonians, Asians, and Africans. They use the euro as currency, they use the type CEF outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Of course, the Finnish people speak the Finnish language, which is arguably one of the hardest languages on earth to learn. Conjugation is a mess. Nouns and adjectives have inflectionary forms, whatever that means. Nonetheless, Finland has one of the best schooling systems in the world. In Finland, school hours are shorter, less homework is given, and there are virtually no mandated standardized tests apart from the exam you take in your final senior year of high school. Also,
that's really cool. I know that there's a video that I'm thinking about reacting to about the Finnish school system and how it's, you know, it blows everyone out of the water, right? That would be interesting to learn more about. Let me know if you're interested in having me react to that. But yeah, cool. Because tests are the worst, so that's really interesting.
Also, if you get your PhD, you have the option to get a sword and a top hat along with your diploma. This is also why Finland is one of the most English—
Wait, what? You can get a sword for graduating with a PhD? If that is not motivation to get a PhD, I don't know what is. That is freaking cool. Why do they do it, I wonder? That's... Wait, did he explain why? Hold on.
No mandated standardized test apart from the exam you take in your final senior year of high school. Also, if you get your PhD, you have the option to get a sword and a top hat along with your diploma. This is also—
Why? I love that. What the heck is that? That's the coolest ever. Oh my gosh. I don't think that for PhDs or per, you know, level of graduation, you know, difference in degrees, I think it's always just kind of a graduation cap, the square with the little tassel on the side, and you wear the robe. And sometimes you get, you know, the ribbons or things like that, depending on how well you did or things like that. I've never seen anything like that. Love that.
Also why Finland is one of the most English-friendly countries in Europe. Children are taught around ages 9 to 11, and most people of the younger generation can at least hold an impressively fluid conversation. Finland is actually a conscription country in which all men ages 18 and up are required to serve either in the military or civilian services anywhere from 165 days to a year, depending on the type of service applied for.
That's very interesting because I know I have a friend from Israel, and she had to serve in the military as well. It's kind of a required thing. But that's for women as well. We do not do that here, not in the US. You definitely volunteer to do that. There have been times in the past where, you know, people have been kind of forced to go into the military, which is very, very sad. But I don't know. I wonder how people feel about this, because I have a hard time with the military. I know that it's not always, you know, seeing combat and like being on the front lines and things like that. They have cooks, they have doctors, they do different things, and maybe not everyone has to see something traumatic. You know what I mean? So what do you guys think about that? Do you think it's cool that people are required to serve in the military, or do you think that it's kind of weird? I'm on kind of the weird side right now, but let me know what you think about that. I don't know.
Islands are exempt from the military conscription, but are required to serve in some kind of institution like the Coast Guard or civil services. Finnish culture is actually pretty funny. The stereotype is that Finns are incredibly quiet and don't talk that much in most public transactions. Just mind your business and no small talk. The cartoon Finnish Nightmares illustrates this concept pretty well. Check it out. Which is funny because Finland is huge on the boisterous, loud, and flashy heavy metal culture, having the highest concentration of heavy metal bands out of any other country in the world, with nearly 650 per 1 million residents. Finns also invented the wife carrying competition, in which a man must carry either his wife or girlfriend or any girl that agrees to get tossed around in an obstacle course, and the winner carry either his wife or girlfriend or any girl that agrees to get tossed.
Oh my gosh. I hope that the girl gets something out of it, because that looks miserable. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I've never heard of that. That would be a sports event that I would definitely want to attend. That is so funny.
Surrounded an obstacle course, and the winner gets the women's weight in beer. It's very strategic because if you want to win, you might want to carry a lighter wife, but if you want more beer, you better do your squats.
Exactly.
Bro. Now, if you must know one thing about Finnish culture, you have to know about sauna. The Finns invented the sauna. Most homes, hotels, and apartments have a sauna built into them. They actually had a sauna competition at one point, but then a Russian guy died and they had to kind of cancel it.
Oh, no way. Ooh, that's rough. But a lot of you have told me that these pictures and videos are usually censored, right? People are wearing stuff, but a lot of the time, people just aren't wearing anything. And that was like one of the things that shocked me the most. I'm just like, oh, you're just in there naked? Oh, okay, that's new for me. And the fact that you whip yourself with stuff, I had to learn about all of that, and that was like mind blowing. I'm like, what is that? But it's kind of cool, like the reasons why you guys do that. I love that.
Overall, though, Finns are kind of brought up in a mindset known as sisu. It's kind of hard to explain the exact definition of it, but it kind of means something like guts or determination and never giving up, which really helped them along the fight with the Soviets. Sisu is to Finland what Jantaloen is to Denmark. There are so many other things I wish we could talk about, but we're running out of time. But we do have time for friend time!
Oh yeah, gotta have that.
Historically, Finland was kind of always a little lonely. I mean, few, if any, trading routes ever went through this area. Even the Mongols were like, we're good, nah, yeah, carry on. Nonetheless, over time, Finland did develop relations, and to this day is one of the most diplomatically outreached countries in the world. I mean, the Finnish passport is the #1 ranked and most sought after, as it has the highest number of visa-free countries applied to it. First of all, Finland generally gets along with other Nordic countries. However, they have the biggest frenemy relationship with Sweden. They'll trade and share a beer or two, but when hockey season comes, the bloodbath begins. When it comes to Russia, Finland kind of has to be their friend because Russia has the longest border with them and business is important. Nonetheless, Russia is kind of seen as like the next door neighbor that you once got into an argument with, but then you kind of fix things up, but then you kind of really didn't get over it, and then you have to see them every other day in the morning as you go to work. Germans are always welcome in Finland, and Hungarians are like the long-lost distant cousins that they just discovered and are trying to build a relationship with. Their best friends, though, might be Estonia and Norway. Everybody loves Norway. It's like the Cameroon of Europe. Norway has never had any controversy with Finland, and with the recent mountain gift proposal, relations are only strengthened. Estonia is like the nagging little sister that tries to imitate her bigger brother. I mean, they both even have the same national anthems, but in the end, they are family and Finland always loves her. In conclusion, Finland really is a winter wonderland with quiet people that transform into metal monsters after a pint of long drink, topping their days off, baking themselves in human ovens for fun. And with that, we finish the Finnish episode. You waited for that for over 10 minutes. Stay tuned. The country that must not be named is coming up next.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Interesting. I like the idea of like never give up type thing. I think that's really good. I think that builds a lot of strong people. But I wonder if there's like a balance there of like, okay, well, maybe pick your battles. I wonder if they focus on that as well. But I don't know. Pretty cool though. I think determination is a really, really good trait. So, but yeah, loved reacting to that. Super cool. I know that the other Nordic countries kind of make fun of the Finnish language, which is fun. So I'm kind of sad that he didn't talk more about that because I think that's kind of funny too. But yeah, everyone's been so nice that I've met from Finland. Let me know if there's anything that needs to be corrected. As always, let me know your comments, down below. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.